Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of agricultureinformation.com, I like to invite the speaker, Dr. Shivani, who will speak about modern crop management practices under changing climatic condition. I now request the speaker to begin. Thank you.
Very good afternoon to all of you. Myself, Dr. Shivani. I am Principal Scientist in ICAR Research Complex for Eastern Region, Patna. And today the topic of my presentation is modern crop management practices under changing climatic conditions. So first of all, I will apologize for being late due to some technological issues. As we all know that nowadays the temperature are rising and the rainfall, it is very inadequate rainfall we are getting, and in other words our temperature is changing and there are so many greenhouse gases and they are very adversely affecting the environment. There are so many gases like methane, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, nitrous oxide, which are very harmful for our climate. And they are not only affecting the crops and animals, but in as a whole, they are affecting the ecosystem. And what are greenhouse gases? If we can see in this slide, the effect of greenhouse effect. Here, when we get solar energy from the sun, it passes through the atmosphere and some of the energy is reflected back out of space. And Earth's surface, when it gets solar energy, it gets heated by the sun and radiated the heat back out towards space. But greenhouse gases, they capture these in the atmosphere and trap some of the heat and which adversely affect the crop as well as we living all the living organisms. Climate, as we all know, it is one of the most important and main determinant of agriculture production, and the climate changes due to it may be due to human activities or sometimes it is a natural process. But these human activities, whether we are directly or indirectly doing the such kind of things which are changing the composition of global atmosphere. And according to the IPCC, the greenhouse gas emission could cause the mean global temperature to rise by another 1.4 degree to 5.8 degrees centigrade. So we have to keep all these things in our mind, and we can say that climate change, it affects the crop production. Hence, it affects the growth, development as well as the yield of crop. And due to this, we can say that the crop production is going to be affected by climate change condition. As we all know, agriculture is complex system and it is linked to climate by temperature, precipitation, solar radiation, and atmospheric gas composition. And the other main component for crop production are soil and water. These resources are very important resources for production of crops, and there are some same issues, and they represent key component of the system. Due to this, there may be drought, there may be flood situation, and both the situation, either drought or flood, both these situations are very, they cause great loss to agriculture production. Crop susceptibility to climate change. We all know that there are two type of effects, abiotic effects and biotic effects. Abiotic effects, like the whatever there are changes in temperature or precipitation, they are going to affect the crop development as well as yield of the crop. And biotic effects impact of agricultural productivity, like pest pressures. We can see new pests, they are damaging the crop due to change in temperature and humidity. New pests are coming to crop and they are severely affecting the crop production as well as pollination process. Then climate change affects it also. It is affecting the soil resources, soil which provide ecosystem services. If there is flood, so flood mitigation through filtration and water reservoir, then structure to support plant. There are so many elements, macro elements, micro elements for plant growth and development. Then carbon dioxide sequestration and uptake of greenhouse gases in surface and organic layer. That means nutrient cycling, recycling, and delivery of nutrients for food and fiber production is very much important, and it is also being affected by climate change. Besides climate change, there are so many reasons due to which the crop productivity is being decreases. Number one and the foremost important one is the imbalanced and indiscriminate use of chemical fertilizer. Our farmers are giving fertilizer for crop production, but not in balanced dose. They are giving very imbalanced dose, like they are giving urea, they are providing urea in heavy amount, but at the same time they are not using phosphatic fertilizer as well as potassic fertilizer, and due to which the crop production is not up to date. Then occurrence of multi-nutrient, due to which multi-nutrient deficiency is also occurring. Then rain dependent agriculture, about two-third area of our country is rain dependent, and due to this also there is a heavy loss of crop production. Then inadequate irrigation facilities, continuous fragmentation of land, unfavorable, which is very unfavorable for adoption of modern technologies, because there are so many machines and equipments which are not which are not uh, we cannot use these machines for in these small land holdings. Then land holding pattern and predominance of marginal and small farmers, this is also one of the biggest issue which due to which the crop productivity is being declining. So some of the most important, or we can say the modern technologies for raising crop in this scenario, like in this changing climate scenario, are mulching, then drip irrigation, or we can say micro irrigation, and use of protein. Although there are so many technologies, but these three, I think these are the important technologies. So I would like to discuss all these things with you. Earlier I had last year I had given one presentation on diversification, and diversification is also one of the most important, you can say, practice, management practice, due to which we can increase the crop productivity, due to which we can increase the water productivity, and we can increase the production of the, crop production. As we all know, our population is increasing day by day, but the crop production is reducing. So to feed the increasing population, it is very much essential for all of us to go through the modern technologies in this changing climatic scenario. As if we take the example of wheat, which is a rabi season crop and which is the staple food. After rice, wheat is the second staple food. But due to this rise in temperature, the sowing time as well as the harvesting time, both are not. I mean, the sowing time, which was earlier in the month of first fortnight of November, or in the month of last fortnight of October in some areas, and in other areas it was first fortnight of November. But nowadays, due to rise in temperature, the date of sowing is shifting towards December. And now we can say that temperature, which is very useful for germination of wheat plant, it is, we get that temperature in second fortnight of November in this northern side. There are so many factors which are affecting the crop production, and looking all these factors, we have to manage our crop, we have to manage the sowing time, we have to manage the harvesting time, as well as we have to look for varieties which can cope up the heat, and they can develop earlier, or we can say earlier variety, or those varieties which are short duration, they can perform better in this situation. Now, other practice, because you can say that optimum sowing time, this is the one of the important factor. So another important thing is mulching. Now, as we all know, mulching, it is the practice of covering the soil around the plant or a row of plants with suitable material. For this, why we mulch the crop? Because it modify the soil environment favorably and reduce evaporation losses as well as weed population. I have seen that when we use mulch, it reduces the weed very much, because weed they reduces the crop production up to 40%. And the cost of cultivation, if we will manually reduce the weed, we will manually control the weed, then also the cost of cultivation will increases, because labors are very it is very difficult to find so much labors. So manually, if we will not do the weed control, and if we will go for herbicidal effect, herbicide application, weedicide application, then also due to this the cost of cultivation will increases, and then our farmers will not get much profit. So mulching is a practice through which we can minimize or we can reduce weed population up to 40%. Then mulches affect the microenvironment also, and thus they modify the energy balance of the plant environment and decrease the soil water loss. Thus, we can say that mulching, it affects the temperature as well as water part of the soil. Now there are two types of mulches, organic mulches and synthetic mulches. Organic mulches, like living materials such as chopped leaves, straw, grass clippings, compost, all these are organic mulches which are organic in nature. And synthetic mulches are black plastic mulch, clear or transparent plastic mulch, white plastic mulch, or there are mulches which are having silver color or aluminium color. Then some mulches are like they are having two types of colors, one aluminium color on the upper side, and dark or black color on the lower side. This is also plastic mulch. And then photoselective mulches, degradable mulches. Then let us have a look on organic mulches. The use of organic mulches, they does not affect the soil temperature to the extent of synthetic mulches. Synthetic mulches, they affect the soil temperature more. They suppress organic mulches suppress weeds, they reduce crusting and preserve moisture. But gradual decomposition of organic mulches, they add organic matter to the soil, which is very beneficial nowadays for our soil. Then organic mulches, it enrich the soil and make plants happy, because when the plant is happy, it will give more and more production. And when any kind of mulch is dry, it is not hospitable place for plant roots, because plant roots, they grow in those areas, in those soils which are very very soft. So if we spread a thin layer around plant and top it with another mulch such as chopped leaves, this allows the compost to stay moist, and it will become biologically active also, and provide maximum benefit for vegetables, fruits and flowers. Then coming to synthetic mulches, there are mulches which are black in color. They are very popular as it retards weed growth. It warms the soil during winter season and thus encourage plant growth, because due to low temperatures, plant growth is not well. It warms the soil and radiates heat during the night, and significantly reduce root knot nematode infection in tomato varieties. Then there are some mulches which are not black colored, but they are clear or transparent. These type of mulches are used for solarizing soil in the field, and it drastically raises the soil temperature because it doesn't have any color. And but the negative point in this mulch is that it cannot control weed, because it is very clear or transparent. Sunlight comes to this mulches. And another one is white mulch. It reflects more light to the plant in comparison to black one, and it is good for establishing crop under hot summer condition, and it also repel insects. Another one, silver mulch. It also repel aphids, which can serve as vectors for various viral diseases. Excuse me. Then yellow plastic mulch, they repel the white fly, which spreads leaf curl in solanaceous vegetable. This white fly, it is very harmful for solanaceous vegetables. So if we will use yellow mulch, we can get rid of white flies. Then there are some mulches which are photoselective. They are also known as infrared transmitting mulch. It transmits a high proportion of solar infrared radiation while blocking most photosynthetically active radiation, and it retards the weed growth. Then so there are some mulches which are degradable mulches, and it may be photodegradable or biodegradable, and it offers a solution to the disposal problem, because if we use plastic mulches, there will be a disposal problem. And biodegradable plastic mulches like matter by biofilm, bioflex, these behave very similar to plastic mulches, but they can be degraded, and it avoided the need of picking up and carrying the mulches to the landfill after use. Now we will look this slide. This slide shows the advantages of using plastic mulch. Plastic mulch increases soil temperature, which promotes plant growth in cooler climate. Then soil compaction is reduced, which improves the root growth. Fertilizer leaching is reduced. Waterlogging from excessive rain can be avoided. Then drying of soil due to evaporation, it can be reduced. Then one more thing we can see in mulched field, that crops look cleaner and they are very less subjective to disease and weeds, disease that are soil-borne diseases, and because they are not in contact with the soil or rain splashed soil. Then weed control with plastic mulch eliminates the damage to roots caused by cultivation to remove weeds. And harvesting of crop can be done 2 to 14 days earlier with black plastic mulch. And even if we will mulch with any organic or inorganic mulch, the crop production, we will get higher crop productivity. Then the chimney effect, that is carbon dioxide, which is required for photosynthesis, builds up under the plastic and can only escape through the planting holes, because there are only holes where the plant is there, so causing a higher concentration around the growing leaves, and this is called the chimney effect. But there are some disadvantages also, both in organic as well as inorganic mulches. In organic mulches, there is danger of termite. Then frequent application of organic mulches, because of early degradation. And plastic mulches, there is the initial cost is very high. The initial cost of plastic mulches is very high, and the second problem and the most important problem is the removal and disposal of plastics. Then where we can apply mulch. So mulch is mainly employed for those areas which are having which are having uh, less water, or eroded areas where there is more soil erosion. So moisture conservation in rain-fed areas can be done by mulching, then reduction of irrigation frequency, and thus we can save water in irrigated areas. Then we can moderate soil temperature in greenhouse cultivation, then soil solarization for controlling soil-borne disease, then reduce the rain impact. It prevents soil erosion and thus maintains soil structure. In places where there is high value crops, there we can use mulch. Then now there are so many mulches, and we have to be very careful while selecting the mulches. Like here, some of the examples are there. Like in rainy season, if you are using mulches, it should be perforated mulch. Soil solarization, there must be thin transparent film. For weed control through solarization, it should be transparent film. But weed control in cropland, it should be black mulches. Then for sandy soil, saline water soil, this should be black film mulches. And for orchard, the mulch should be thicker. For summer cropland, it should be white film. And if we use mulch for insect repellent purpose, it should be silver color film. and for early germination, the mulch should be thinner. Then mulching should be preferably be equivalent to the canopy of the plant, because proper mulching is very important, and required size of mulch film is cut from the manual. We all know how to do mulch, but these are some of the points through which we can say that we can properly mulch, because mulching is also one of the important factor which increases the crop production. And in this changing climate scenario, the crop can be, if there are high temperature, if there are high temperature during summer season, we can control the evaporation of water by mulching. And in during the winter season, we can say that we can increase the soil temperature, which can be optimum for crop growth. Then some holes should be done at the four corners of the field in order to facilitate water movement, so that proper water movement can be done in the within the soil for proper root development and also for proper plant development. These are some of the pictures where the link of mulches is being shown here. In foreign countries, mulches are shown by machines, but here all in our country, the small farmers, they uh, use mulches in their field, but they do it manually. Then removal of plastic mulch, I earlier pointed out that this is very much one of the main negative point of removal of plastic mulch. It should be removed after the growing season, and it should not be disked under the soil. So before tillering the soil, before uh, getting the soil tilled, we should collect and remove the mulch from the field. And in most cases, the plastic must be removed by hand and disposed of in a landfill. This graph shows the effect of irrigation and mulching and weed biomass. As I was telling that weed, which is very harmful for our crop, in this weeding can be, if we provide mulch and then we grow our crop, it suppress the weed control. Here there are four situations: surface irrigation with mulch, surface irrigation without mulch, drip irrigation with mulch, and drip irrigation without mulch. So drip irrigation with mulch, here you can see that the weed can be, there are less weed, where you can see the green one, less weeds are there. And this is drip irrigation without mulch. And drip irrigation with mulch, they reduce the weed population in a very effective manner. Drip irrigated, I have produced four vegetable crops, and irrespective of varieties, it was shown that a drip irrigated crop having mulch, they produce the highest fruit yield, and they produce 18% to 20% higher yield. As well, the flowering as well as fruit setting in mulch crop was advanced by 3 to 5 days and produce 48% and 58% higher yield than unmulched crop under drip and surface irrigation. Then loss in yield due to weed infestation was very low, that is 3 to 5% in mulched plot, whereas in unmulched plot, the weed reduced the yield up to 22%. Then drip irrigated crop with mulch showed highest water productivity, as I told earlier that mulching and drip irrigation both save water, whereas surface irrigated crop without mulch showed the least water productivity. Plastic mulches reduce nutrient leaching and stabilize soil moisture. Then the light reflected from the surface of plastic mulch improved the growth of tomato and other crops. Then plastic mulching, they require specialized labor and equipment for fertigation and water management. Drip systems and fertigation may increase yields of mulched vegetable crop. Then weed control measures significantly contribute to increase crop water use efficiency by reducing competition for nutrients and moisture in the root zone. and for light above ground. That thus we can say that mulching is one of the best management practice in this climatic change condition through which we can increase the crop production. Now the second practice which I am going to deal about is drip irrigation, or we can say micro irrigation. Nowadays this is very important because the rainfall pattern is very improper, and sometimes we get heavy rainfall, sometimes we get very less rainfall, and then the frequency of rainfall is also irregular. So first of all, this slide shows what is micro irrigation. That means the delivery of water at low flow rates through various types of water applicators by a distribution system located on the soil surface, beneath the surface, or suspended above the ground. That means this micro irrigation apply water in precise time, precise location, and precise quantity. Drip irrigation are of two types, surface drip and subsurface drip. Then second micro irrigation is sprinkler irrigation. This may be rotating head system or perforated pipe system. Then based on portability, we can classify them as portable and semi-portable system. Then another one is solid set system and permanent system. The third micro irrigation is LEPA, that means low elevation precision applicator. And fourth one is LESA, that is low energy spray applicator. All these are micro irrigations. These micro irrigation or drip irrigation, these are very useful for fruits, vegetables, spices, then in desserts, cereals, oil seeds, sugarcane, pulses, cotton, flowers, forests. This slide shows that micro irrigation is beneficial for all crops. We can use micro irrigation in all crops. And this is the area which is covered under micro irrigation. It is all India. This graph shows the all India area covered under micro irrigation by segments, and this is under million hectare. This one, the blue colored one in pie chart, this one is drip irrigation, that is 43.62% area comes under drip irrigation, and 56.38% area comes under sprinkler irrigation. Major states where this micro irrigation is being used, you can see from this graph, Rajasthan and Maharashtra in second place. This is followed by Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka. In all these graph, you can see that sprinkler irrigation. This one in Rajasthan, sprinkler irrigation is more area is covered through sprinkler irrigation. By using sprinkler irrigation or drip irrigation or any type of micro irrigation, we can save energy consumption as well as fertilizer consumption. In this graph, you can see that Haryana is the state where 49.3% of energy consumption can be saved, and likewise fertilizer consumption is also saved by 43.8% in Rajasthan. Then other states are also there like Gujarat, Sikkim, Chhattisgarh, Haryana, Andhra Pradesh, and Karnataka, where these micro irrigations are being used and fertilizer consumption as well as energy consumption are being saved here. Then this slide shows the impact of micro irrigation. Here we can see that by using micro irrigations, the farmer income is increasing as well as they can introduce new crop. By introducing new crop, farmer can increase their income, and by saving fertilizer, by saving water, they can also increase their income. The Gujarat is a state where 68% of income is increasing due to use of this micro irrigation. The second state is Chhattisgarh, and this is followed by Haryana. Likewise, in when we say that introduction of new crops due to use of micro irrigation, here Haryana, it 98.4% of farmers they are able to introduce new crops. In Chhattisgarh, 53.6% farmers are able to increase this farmers new crops. This slide shows the saving of irrigation cost. Here also 49.3% of farmers in Gujarat and 49% farmers in Haryana, they are saving irrigation cost by using drip irrigation. Thus, we can see that there is great impact of micro irrigation, and this pie chart, it shows state-wise potential for micro irrigation as well as crop-wise potential for micro irrigation. Here also Maharashtra, Rajasthan, Punjab, and Haryana, these are the states where the potential of micro irrigation is very high. Then crop-wise potential for micro irrigation is also here. Here we can see that cereals, 27.6 million hectare cereal area is covered by cereal, where the micro irrigation is being used. There are so many micro irrigation methods, but drip irrigation is an effective irrigation system that permits application of water to plants to closely meet the consumptive use requirements. And it is a technique in which water is applied in small and precise amount at frequent intervals. And you can apply water just near the root zone, thus emitting through emitting devices like a network of PVC or HDPE mains, sub-mains, filtration unit, then controlling valve, and LLDPE laterals. It minimizes the wastage of water by delivering the water very near to root zone. And in this system, water is applied to each plant separately in small, frequent, and precise quantities through dripper emitters. Thus, we can use the water judiciously, and each and every plant can get optimum amount of water. And this is the most advantage irrigation method, where with highest application efficiency. So we can say that drip irrigation is very much advantageous, and here the water saving, which is one of the major factor, we can say that water saving, it reduced evaporation and keeps the water at field capacity level. Then saving of water and fertilizer operating costs, these are minimized, and thus farmer can get more and more benefit, and the farmer's income can be enhanced. Then plant growth and yield is also enhanced, saving of labor, then reduced weed growth and disease problem, then most suitable for poor soils. It is also used on marginal fields. Then it can also be used to supply saline water. Then salinity hazards can be minimized. Soil erosions can also get controlled, and it increases the fertilizer use efficiency. The one and the foremost important thing that we get from drip irrigation is water saving. There are with drip irrigation, we can so many research has been done, and it has been found that 52% of water can be saved in garlic, 50 to 70% in pea, 37% in cauliflower, 30% in okra. I mean to say that in vegetables, if we use drip irrigation, we can save 25 to 70% of water, depending upon the soil, climate, then the crop and variety. And the irrigation efficiency of drip irrigation is very high. That means 85 to 90%. In this slide, you can say that how much water we can save, and what is the extent of increase in yield with drip irrigation system. In all the crops, tomato, watermelon, cucumber, chili, cauliflower, okra, we can see that the water is saving, and at the same time there is increase in yield percent. Not only water is saved through drip irrigation, but it also enhances plant growth, as I told earlier, because application of mulch in conjunction with drip irrigation, it is very beneficial in saving the irrigation water, and thus improving the yield. Then it is very beneficial as it saves labor and energy, and therefore it minimizes the cost of cultivation. It controls weed due to partial wetting of soil. Weed infestation is very less in comparison to other method of irrigation. Then it is more suitable for poor soils like very light soils. It is very difficult to irrigate because there is deep percolation. So when we use drip irrigation, we give very precise amount of water to the plant, and the plant can get water. Likewise, in
Dr.
heavy
Shivani,
soils, yes, yes,
we
sir.
lost your voice.
Am I not audible? Hello,
No, once again.
hello, hello, hello.
Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, yes, you are very much audible. Hello, hello, hello. Am I audible?
Hello?
Hello, hello.
Dr. Shivani, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Am I not audible?
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, please proceed.
Uh, So
And
let's moisture content.
you can complete bit earlier, it will be better because we already, the time is up actually.
Okay, okay,
How many slides are left?
uh, just few minutes ago. Then
Okay.
salinity hazards, fertilizer use efficiency, and disease incidence. These are also some of the important points which are very important for crop production. And easy installation, minimum tillage, and incidence of disease and pest are very much added advantage of drip irrigation. There are some disadvantage also, which is in this slide. And one of the most important thing is high initial investment. The investment cost is very high, and frequent clogging of drippers, this is also one of the problem. Then the technical manpower is very much needed for this purpose. Then ponding and running runoff on heavy soils. Then these soils, these are not suited for supplementary irrigation of large areas. Then availability of components and cost of spare parts, and restricted root development in some crops. These are the some of the disadvantages. Then this figure is of a typical drip system layout. You all know, as I told earlier, there are two types of drip: surface drip and subsurface drip. Surface drip, what is applied through small emitter openings, and insect can pest can pattern and measure emitter discharges. In subsurface drip irrigation, water applied through small emitter opening below the soil surface. As the name suggests, subsurface, that means the drippers are below the subsurface, and basically a surface system that has been buried, and it is the permanent installation. These are the some of the advantages and disadvantages of subsurface drip irrigation: high and uniform water application, lower pressure and power, no dry corners, adaptable to automation, But at the same time, there are some disadvantages: high initial cost, water infiltration is required, and complex maintenance requirements. Nutrient distribution pattern is also here. In surface irrigation, you see that most of the nutrients are being leached, but in drip irrigation, the nutrients are localized near the root zone. And when you do drip fertigation, that means irrigation as well as drip irrigation, and the fertilizer is also given through drip irrigation, then you can say that all the root parts, they are getting nutrients very in a uniform pattern. Drip irrigation can be adapted in all types of crop except some close spaced crop, well and tank irrigation, and suitable for all types of soil. And that is sandy, clay, and saline. While sprinkler irrigation is suitable for coarse and sandy soils, and soil movement is also here under irrigation with saline water, subsurface drip, and this one is the sprinkler. Salt accumulated leads radially outward from drip tubing, and here salt accumulation reached downward by successive water application in sprinkler or flood irrigation. So this one is the most important thing which we can use in saline water condition also. This is the economic comparison. The yield is increasing, chemicals, fertilizers, the cost for which we are giving, if we are using drip irrigation, less amount of chemical we apply on the crop, and as well as the fertilizer use efficiency also increases. So we give less fertilizer, less chemical, and the yield is being increases. The fixed cost is increases, as I said that a high initial cost, so the capital cost is high, and net operating profit is 12%. In irrigated vegetable condition, drip irrigation is very important, and it is very beneficial for vegetable crops like in tomato, cauliflower, pea. This is very important, and closer row spacing and higher density in competition with the reduced irrigation regime provided the highest water use efficiency and economic yield. This graph shows water productivity using mulches: surface irrigation with mulch, without mulch, drip irrigation with mulch, and drip irrigation without mulch. Here the water productivity is high when we are using drip irrigation with mulch. This is the drip irrigation effect of drip irrigation on yield and water productivity of maize. There are so many treatments here where we are using surface irrigation and drip irrigation with recommended dose of fertilizer, then less than recommended dose of fertilizer, and more than recommended dose of fertilizer. And here in all cases where we are using drip fertigation, the water use efficiency is increasing. In this slide also, this is the slide which is representing grain gram yield and water use efficiency. Here also, the due to application of this IWCP ratio, water use efficiency is increasing. Likewise, in all the oil, whether it is oilseed crop or pulse crop or vegetable, if we use drip irrigation, it increases the yield as well as water use efficiency. Here you can see comparative efficiency of surface, sprinkler, and drip irrigation. Drip irrigation has 80 to 90% more efficiency. But there are some major challenges, and these challenges are already mentioned in this slide. I think high cost and maintenance of and repairing of MI instrument. This is the main challenge, and the absence of easy financing mechanism for farmers, then delay in subsidy disbursement are some of the main challenges and issues which we should take care of. Then major recommendations. These are the major recommendations given by the government, and nowadays the farmers, they are adopting drip irrigations because government is providing subsidy, as well as they are getting knowledge and technologies from universities and agriculture KVKs and agriculture universities. So scheme like credit linked back ended subsidy and credit guarantee fund, these are also should be promoted and extended with the help of state and central agencies along with the industries, cooperatives and NGOs. The third one was pro-tray. Very quickly, I will cover this topic. Pro-tray, as we all know, these are the shallow plugs in which germination media remains warm and provide better aeration. Seeds are sown directly into plugs, and weeding and thinning is easily carried out in such pro-trays. In vegetable crops, this is mostly done, and these trays are of different sizes. Then 96 cell trays, which are 54 centimeter into 27 centimeter and 4 centimeter deep, are commonly used by the farmers. And the media which we use for pro tray are cocoa pit. This is a byproduct of coir industry having very high water holding capacity. And then cocoa pit, it should be supplemented with nutrients, sterilizing the growing media. Then other recommended media are cocoa peat plus vermicompost, or vermicompost plus sand or soil, or loam plus FYM in equal proportion. These are filled in the pro tray, and then seed sowing is done. So plugs per tray vary from 48 to 96 per tray. So farmers can use according to their need, whether they need this big one or medium one. This picture, it shows pro tray used for tomato, and this is the cocoa media in tomato nursery which we are used to fill these holes. These are the holes of pro tray. These are filled with appropriate growing media, and small depression, that is 0.5 centimeter, are made at the center of the plugs with the fingertips. Then one seed is sown in each cell and covered with medium containing 300 to 400% moisture. Germination of tomato seeds 3 to 6 days, and then these seedlings can be taken out from the. This picture shows how seeds are. We are sowing seeds in pro trays, then filling of pro trays with media. Cocoa pit, it is deficient in nutrients, and so we need supplement fertilizer which are water soluble, and it is sprayed on 12th and 20th day after sowing. Then manual weeding, it should be carried out as and when required. Plant protection and disease pest portion is also here, so we should take care of these things also. Then how to pick seedlings. Pricking is done when seedlings are at 2 to 4 leaf stage, and it is picking is shifting of seedlings to comparatively bigger sized trays or containers. Then these are tomato seedlings. If we are growing on pro trays, they are hardened by withholding water and gradual reduction of shade. The seedlings are then transplanted at around 21 days after sowing, and before uprooting the seedlings, they are irrigated to facilitate easy removal and minimum root damage. Actually, if our field is engaged with other crop, and to save the time, we can use these pro trays. We can grow seedlings of vegetables in these pro trays, and when the crop of the field get harvested, we can very easily transplant these seedlings to our crop without any damage, uh, mm, without I mean to say that we are not we are growing we are growing seedlings in the pro trays and transplant those seedlings in the main field at right time. That means we are saving time as well as we are saving water, and we are giving more time to the both the crops. So this was the all about the modern crop practices which we can use in this changing climate scenario, as I think all the days which we are passing by, the heat is increasing and rainfall is decreasing. So in this scenario, application of micro irrigation, drip irrigation and mulching, as well as using of pro tray, are very important practices. And thank you very much for your patience listening. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Shivani, for the very detailed presentation. Now I'll take up some questions quickly. Okay, in what ways will climate change affect Indian agriculture in future?
Yeah, climate change, actually, as I took the example of wheat crop. wheat which you used to sow in the month of November or in the last week of October, now as the temperature is rising, the temperature for germinating wheat seeds, it is also shifting from October to November, second fortnight of November. So we have to uh, think for more varieties uh, susceptible, which are not susceptible to high temperature, or which we can say that which are a shorter duration crop. They can complete their life cycle in better way in shorter duration, because the temperature is rising and the cooling season, it is getting shorter and shorter. So rabi season, it is very much uh, going to be affected.
Okay. Next question. What are some steps farmers can immediately implement to prepare for a future with climate change?
Okay, first of all, we should uh, take care of the crop, what crop we are going to take. If we are going to take a crop which is of short duration, then it is okay. But if you are taking rice, so we should take those varieties which are of short duration, because if you are taking short duration rice, then it will get harvested at right time. And by using these mulches, then drip irrigation or micro irrigation, one can save water as well as fertilizer. And also the effect of climate, that means if the temperature is rising, by doing mulching, we can minimize the temperature to some extent, and which will be favorable for our crop and crop growth and development as well as its production. Then the another thing is that the we should choose those varieties which can be do better in the not only in the proper, when it gets a proper I mean to say proper irrigation, but also when there is very few rainfall, then also it can do well. That means crop resilient structure, crop resilient varieties, crop resilient crops like millets. Nowadays, it is getting more importance. These type of plants, these type of crops, we should be use in our uh, crop area. And the more important thing is that the technologies which are going to reduce the fertilizer, which was going to increase the efficiency of fertilizer, efficiency of water, they should be used. And we should also ask our farmers to use all these technologies for and proper for their proper growth, crop growth and development.
Okay.
And because the climate is changing, the pest pattern as well as weed pattern is also going to change. So we should take care of all these things, and effective weed management should be done.
Okay. Now we have the last question. Please let us know little about your career background and what made you to take an interest in agriculture field.
Pardon?
Please let us know little about your career background.
Okay. Actually, I passed by graduation BSc Agriculture from Birsa Agriculture University, Kake. It is situated in Ranchi. Now it is in Bihar, in Jharkhand. Earlier it was in Bihar. And from there I did my MSc. Then I got JRF, Junior Research Fellowship, and then I got SRF. I did my PhD. While doing PhD, I got selected in ASRB, and then I became a scientist of agronomy, because my discipline is agronomy, that is management of field crops.
Hmm.
So I became a scientist. I was earlier, my first posting was in Modipuram, which is
Okay.
in Uttar Pradesh, and that I got transferred to Sikkim, and now I am at Patna, ICAR Research Complex for Eastern Region.
Okay. Okay, Dr. Shivani. I now we have come to end of question round. On behalf of agricultureinformation.com, we like to thank you for a very detailed presentation and answering all the questions in detail. And we also like to thank all the participants for joining this meeting. The meeting will now be closed.
Thank you so much.
You are most welcome. Thank you.